How much of your life have you quietly shaped around the fear of what they might think? How many words have you swallowed because someone might judge them? How many dreams have you made smaller because someone might laugh? How many times have you changed your face, your voice, your clothes, your choices, even your silence, because you wanted to feel accepted by people who were never meant to guide your soul? Today, let this truth reach the deepest part of you. You were not born to live inside their opinion. You were not placed on this earth to bend your whole life around their comfort. You were not given a heart, a mind, a voice, and a path just to spend your days asking, will they approve of me? Will they understand me? Will they still love me if I become honest? Their opinion is not your home. Their judgment is not your identity. Their approval is not the door to your peace. You may have carried their words for a long time. Maybe someone once told you that you were too sensitive, too different, too much, too quiet, too emotional, too ambitious, too soft, too strong, too hard to understand. Maybe those words did not leave when the person left. Maybe they stayed inside you like little shadows, rising every time you wanted to choose yourself. Maybe before you speak, you still hear that voice. Before you try, you still imagine their reaction. Before you rest, you still wonder if you have done enough to be accepted. But my dear, you are allowed to return those words to where they came from. You do not have to carry every opinion that was placed on you. You do not have to build your life out of other people's fears. You do not have to let someone else's small view become the ceiling over your future. Let go of their opinion. Stand tall in your truth. Let those words settle into you slowly, not as a fight, not as anger, not as a wall around you, a heart. Let them settle as freedom. Let them settle as permission. Let them settle as the quiet moment when your soul remembers, I belong to myself. For so long, you may have believed that being loved meant being easy for everyone else, easy to agree with, easy to control, easy to understand, easy to predict, easy to keep small. You may have learned to smile when something hurt you. You may have learned to say yes when your whole body wanted to say no. You may have learned to hide your real feelings because you were afraid someone would call you difficult. You may have learned to make peace on the outside while losing peace inside yourself. But there comes a moment in every healing heart when pleasing everyone starts to feel heavier than being honest. There comes a moment when the mask becomes too tight. The silence becomes too loud. The life you built for approval no longer feels like your own. And in that moment, something wise inside you begins to whisper, I cannot keep abandoning myself just to be accepted. I cannot keep shrinking just to make others comfortable. I cannot keep living as a version of myself that everyone else approves of, but my own soul does not recognize. That whisper is not weakness. That whisper is awakening. Your truth may begin softly. It may not arrive with a loud voice. It may simply feel like a small ache when you say yes to something that is not right for you. It may feel like a heavy chest when you keep pretending. It may feel like a quiet pull toward a life that feels more honest, more peaceful, more your own. Listen to that pull. It is not there to confuse you. It is there to guide you home. So many people fear being judged because judgment feels like rejection. It can feel like someone is standing outside your heart, deciding if you are allowed to belong. But listen carefully. The people who judge you are often speaking from their own limits. They are looking at your life through the window of their own fear, their own pain, their own beliefs, their own unhealed places. Their words may sound powerful, but they are not the voice of truth. They are only the sound of their own inner world. Someone can judge your path and still not understand your calling. Someone can question your choices and still not know what your soul has survived. Someone can laugh at your dream and still have no idea what strength it took for you to dream again. Someone can misunderstand your silence and still not know the battles you chose not to speak about. That is why you cannot let every outside voice become an inner command. You must learn to ask yourself, does this opinion come from love, or does it come from control? Does it help me grow, or does it make me smaller? Does it bring wisdom, or does it bring shame? Does it guide me toward peace, or does it pull me away from myself? Not every voice deserves a room inside your mind. Not every comment deserves your energy. Not every judgment deserves an explanation. Some words are meant to pass by you. Some opinions are meant to fall away. Some criticism only has power because you keep picking it up and holding it close. But today, you can begin to put it down. You may still hear the noise, but you do not have to become the noise. You may still feel the sting, but you do not have to build your identity around the sting. You may still care what people think because you are human and your heart was made for connection, but you do not have to let that care become a chain around your life. There is a beautiful strength in saying, I hear you, but I will not lose myself for you. There is a deep peace in saying, you are allowed to have your opinion, and I am allowed to have my truth. This is not about becoming cold. It is not about rejecting everyone. It is not about pretending you never feel hurt. It is about learning the difference between love and control. Love gives you room to become more yourself. Control wants you to become what others prefer. Love may guide you, but it does not shame you. Love may challenge you, but it does not erase you. Love helps you rise. Control keeps you nervous. You are allowed to love people without obeying every fear they project onto you. You are allowed to respect others without giving them the final say over your life. You are allowed to be kind without being available for every judgment. You are allowed to listen without surrendering your power. And yes, sometimes standing in your truth will disappoint people who benefited from your silence. Sometimes your growth will confuse people who only knew the old version of you. Sometimes your peace will upset those who expected you to keep proving, explaining, chasing, apologizing, and bending. Let that be okay. Their discomfort does not mean you are wrong. Their surprise does not mean you are selfish. Their judgment does not mean you have failed. When you begin to honor yourself, some people may call it distance because they were used to access. Some may call it pride because they were used to your self-doubt. Some may call it change because they were used to your pain. But healing will always look different to people who are comfortable with your wounds. Do not let that stop you. You are not here to be understood by everyone. You are here to live with a clean heart. You are here to become honest with your own spirit. You are here to stop asking the world for permission to be real. Think of how much energy returns to you when you stop performing for approval. Think of how light your heart becomes when you stop replaying every comment. Think of how peaceful your days can feel when you no longer measure your worth by someone else's mood. Think of the space that opens when you stop trying to be the version of yourself that keeps everyone pleased. That space is where your truth begins to breathe. You may have spent years trying to be chosen by others. Now it is time to choose yourself. You may have spent years trying to be understood. Now it is time to understand yourself. You may have spent years trying to be enough for people who kept moving the line. Now it is time to know that you were enough before they had an opinion, and you will still be enough after their opinion changes. Because opinions do change. People change their minds. People speak from moods, from fear, from envy, from pain, from misunderstanding. One day they praise what they once criticized. One day they admire what they once mocked. One day they understand what they once rejected. But you cannot wait for that day to begin living. You cannot place your freedom in the hands of people who may not even know themselves. Your worth must be rooted deeper than applause. Your peace must be rooted deeper than agreement. Your truth must be rooted deeper than the crowd. There is a part of you that already knows who you are. Beneath the old fear, beneath the need to please, beneath the training to stay small, there is a steady self inside you. That self is not begging to be approved. That self is not confused by every comment. That self knows that your life has meaning, that your heart has wisdom, that your path is allowed to be different. Today, let that part of you rise. Not loudly, not harshly, not to prove anything. Let it rise like a tree that has finally stopped apologizing for taking space. Let it rise like the morning light that does not ask the night for permission. Let it rise like a soul that remembers it was never created to crawl beneath other people's judgments. You can be soft and still be strong. You can be loving and still have boundaries. You can care for people and still not let them control you. You can listen to advice and still trust your own inner knowing. You can be misunderstood and still be at peace. Let go of their opinion. Stand tall in your truth. That does not mean you will never feel nervous. It means you will no longer let nervousness choose your life. It does not mean criticism will never touch you. It means criticism will not own you. It does not mean everyone will approve. It means approval will no longer be the price of your freedom. Your life is not a vote. Your truth is not a public debate. Your worth is not waiting for the room to agree. You are allowed to be here. You are allowed to take up space. You are allowed to speak with kindness and still speak clearly. You are allowed to walk away from judgment that only makes you smaller. You are allowed to stop explaining your healing to people who are committed to misunderstanding it. And as you begin this journey, let your heart hear this clearly. You have not wasted the years you spent trying to please others. Those years taught you what it feels like to leave yourself. Now you are learning what it feels like to come home. Nothing is lost when wisdom is gained. Nothing is wasted when it leads you back to your truth. The old pattern may still call your name. The old need for approval may still rise. You may still wonder, what will they think? But now another question can rise beside it. What do I think? What do I feel? What is true for me? What choice brings me peace? What path honors my soul? That is the beginning of freedom. The weight of other people's opinions is not always loud. Sometimes it is quiet. It sits inside your chest while you make a simple choice. It tightens your throat when you want to speak. It makes you rewrite a message many times before sending it. It makes you choose clothes that do not feel like you, words that do not sound like you, paths that do not belong to you. It makes you look at your own life through someone else's eyes and forget how to see clearly through your own. This is how judgment becomes heavy, not because someone has an opinion, but because you start carrying it as truth. People will always have thoughts. They will have preferences. They will have ideas about how you should live, what you should want, what you should forgive, what you should accept, how fast you should heal, how much you should say, how quiet you should be, how strong you should look, how available you should remain. But their thoughts become a burden only when you place them above your own inner knowing. A single comment can follow you for years if you believe it. A small laugh can make you hide a gift if you give it power. A cold look can make you question a dream if you decide it means something about your worth. And soon you are no longer living from your heart. You are living from memory. You are living from the fear of being judged again. That fear can become a hidden ruler over your life. It may tell you not to speak because someone may disagree. It may tell you not to shine because someone may feel uncomfortable. It may tell you not to change because someone may say you have become different. It may tell you not to rest because someone may call you lazy. It may tell you not to succeed because someone may call you proud. It may tell you not to leave because someone may call you selfish. It may tell you not to stay because someone may call you weak. And in the middle of all those voices, your own voice becomes harder to hear. This is why caring too much about opinions can feel so exhausting. You are not only making choices, you are also trying to predict reactions. You are trying to manage feelings that are not yours. You are trying to control how others see you, and that is a task no heart was meant to carry. You can be honest and still be judged. You can be kind and still be misunderstood. You can do your best and still be criticized. You can explain with love and still not be received. So much peace returns when you stop trying to control the story others tell about you. Some people will only understand the part of you that fits their comfort. Some will reduce your whole life to one choice they do not like. Some will judge your healing because they did not see your pain. Some will question your boundaries because they did not feel what it cost you to live without them. Some will speak with confidence about a path they have never had to walk. Let them have their view. You do not have to move into it. The hidden weight begins to lift when you realize that another person's opinion is not always wisdom. Sometimes it is fear wearing a serious face. Sometimes it is control dressed up as concern. Sometimes it is jealousy that does not know its own name. Sometimes it is old belief repeating itself through a new mouth. Sometimes it is simply someone looking at your life from too far away to see the truth. You must learn to separate sound from guidance. Guidance leaves you clearer, even if it challenges you. Judgment leaves you smaller, even if it sounds confident. Guidance respects your soul. Judgment tries to own it. Guidance opens a door. Judgment builds a cage. Guidance helps you stand taller. Judgment teaches you to shrink. Ask your heart what each voice does to you. Does it bring you back to love, or does it pull you into fear? Does it help you become honest, or does it train you to perform? Does it bring peace, or does it make you feel like you must betray yourself to be acceptable? Your body often knows before your mind admits it. Notice the heaviness that comes when you are pretending. Notice the tiredness that comes when you keep saying yes to avoid disappointment. Notice the small sadness that appears when you hide something meaningful because you fear ridicule. Notice the tightness that comes from trying to be liked by people who do not even know the real you. That heaviness is not random. It is your inner self asking to be heard. The truth is, you cannot build a peaceful life while constantly abandoning yourself for approval. You cannot feel deeply safe when your worth depends on reactions. You cannot rest inside your own heart if you keep letting others decide whether you are allowed to feel good about who you are. Approval can feel sweet, but if you need it to survive, it becomes a prison. When people praise you, you rise. When people criticize you, you fall. When they agree, you feel safe. When they question you, you feel lost. When they notice you, you feel worthy. When they ignore you, you feel invisible. This is a painful way to live because it makes your inner world depend on outer weather. But you were meant to have roots. A tree does not ask every passerby if it is allowed to grow. A flower does not hide its color because someone prefers another shade. The sun does not stop shining because someone closes their curtains. Life expresses itself fully, naturally, without begging to be liked. And you too are part of life. You too have a right to express what is true in you. Of course, you are human. It is natural to want love. It is natural to want belonging. It is natural to want the people around you to understand your heart. There is nothing wrong with wanting to be accepted. The wound begins when acceptance becomes more important than truth. The pain begins when belonging to others requires you to leave yourself. You can belong without disappearing. Sean. You can love without pretending. You can stay open without handing over your power. Maybe you learned early that approval kept you safe. Maybe you learned to study people's faces before speaking. Maybe you learned to adjust quickly when someone seemed upset. Maybe you learned that peace meant keeping everyone else comfortable. If that was your story, be gentle with yourself. You were not foolish. You were trying to survive in the way you knew. But now, survival is not the same as freedom. What once helped you avoid conflict may now be keeping you away from your real life. What once protected you may now be limiting you. What once made people approve of you may now be making you feel empty. Healing means seeing these patterns with kindness and slowly choosing a new way. You do not need to become someone else overnight. You only need to stop treating your own truth like it is dangerous. Your feelings are not dangerous. Your needs are not dangerous. Your voice is not dangerous. Your boundaries are not cruel. Your dreams are not too much. Your sensitivity is not a weakness. Your difference is not a mistake. Your truth is not a problem to be managed. It is a light to be honored. Every time you hide your truth to protect someone else's opinion, you teach yourself that your soul is less important than their comfort. Every time you silence your heart to avoid judgment, you teach yourself that peace comes from pleasing. But peace does not come from pleasing. Peace comes from alignment. Peace comes when the life you live on the outside begins to match the truth you feel on the inside. That is why their opinion feels so heavy. It pulls you away from alignment. It asks you to live two lives, one life that others can accept and another life that your heart keeps whispering about in private. One face for the world and one ache behind it. One version that smiles and one version that is tired of pretending. This split creates deep exhaustion. It is not only emotional, it can live in your body, in your breathing, in your sleep, in your ability to feel joy. The soul was not made to be divided forever. At some point, You must ask yourself, who am I when I am not trying to be approved of? What do I love when no one is watching? What do I believe when I am not afraid of being challenged? What do I choose when I no longer need to impress anyone? What kind of life would I live if I trusted that my worth was already whole? These questions are not meant to rush you. They are meant to open a door inside you. Behind that door is the self you may have hidden to feel safe, the self who knows what feels right, the self who wants to speak honestly, the self who wants to create, love, rest, choose, leave, begin, or grow without asking the world to clap first. That self is still there. It has not disappeared. It has only been waiting for you to stop treating judgment like a law. Their opinion may be loud, but it is not final. Someone may say you are wrong for Chang, Ing, but your soul may know you are finally growing. Someone may say you are selfish for choosing peace, but your heart may know you are finally healthy. Someone may say you are too much, but life may know you are finally becoming full. Someone may say you are not enough, but truth may know you were enough before they spoke. Let those words become a gentle shield around your spirit. Their opinion is not final. Not final over your worth. Not final over your future. Not final over your healing. Not final over your gifts. Not final over your right to begin again. You can listen to people without worshiping their judgment. You can receive feedback without losing your center. You can learn from others without letting them define you. You can be humble and still be strong. You can be open and still be rooted. This is the balance your heart is learning. Letting go of their opinion does not mean you stop growing. It means you stop growing in the direction of approval and start growing in the direction of truth. It means you stop asking, who do they want me to be? And begin asking, who am I becoming when I am honest with life? That question changes everything. It brings your energy back. It brings your voice back. It brings your dignity back. It brings your peace back. Because every part of you that was scattered across other people's reactions begins to return home. The part of you waiting for permission comes home. The part of you afraid to disappoint comes home. The part of you hiding your light comes home. The part of you trying to be perfect comes home. And when you come home to yourself, the opinions of others begin to lose their sharpness. They may still speak, but their words no longer enter so deeply. They may still judge, but you no longer build your day around it. They may still misunderstand, but you no longer chase them with endless explanations. You begin to stand in a new kind of peace. A peace that says, I do not need everyone to see me clearly in order to know myself. I do not need everyone to agree with me in order to trust what is true. I do not need everyone to approve of my path in order to walk it with love. This is freedom. Quiet freedom. Deep freedom. the kind of freedom that does not need to prove it is free. And as this freedom grows, you may notice that you become less reactive. You no longer feel the need to defend every choice. You no longer feel the need to correct every false story. You no longer feel the need to win every conversation. You begin to understand that some people are committed to their view, and your peace is too precious to keep offering it to arguments that cannot receive love. You start saving your energy for the life that is actually yours. Your dreams need that energy. Your healing needs that energy. Your body needs that energy. Your joy needs that energy. Your real relationships need that energy. Your future needs that energy. You cannot keep pouring your life into the endless cup of other people's approval and still wonder why you feel empty. Bring your power back. Not with anger, not with pride, not by making others wrong. Bring it back with love. Bring it back by remembering that your life is sacred. Bring it back by choosing the words that honor you. Bring it back by standing quietly in what you know to be true. Bring it back by no longer begging people to understand a path that was never given to them. Some paths are between you and life. Some choices are between you and your healing. Some truths are between you and your own soul. Not everything needs to be explained to be valid. Not everything needs to be approved to be real. Let the hidden weight fall from your shoulders. Let the old fear loosen. Let the need to be liked by everyone become less important than the need to be honest with yourself. You have carried enough voices. Now listen for your own. Your truth does not always arrive like thunder. Sometimes it comes like a soft knowing in the center of your chest. Sometimes it is the calm feeling that remains after fear has spoken. Sometimes it is the quiet answer that keeps returning, even when you try to ignore it. Sometimes it is the peace you feel when you imagine choosing yourself. Sometimes it is the heaviness you feel when you imagine betraying yourself again. Truth can be quiet and still be strong. The world often teaches you to trust what is loud. Loud opinions, loud confidence, loud criticism, loud approval, loud success, loud rejection. But the soul does not always speak in noise. The soul speaks in honesty. It speaks through peace. It speaks through the body. It speaks through the small inner yes that feels clean and the small inner no that feels protective. You may have overlooked your truth because it did not shout. You may have dismissed your inner knowing because someone else sounded more certain. You may have thought, if they are so confident, maybe they are right. But confidence is not always truth. Volume is not always wisdom. A person can speak with force and still be speaking from fear. Your heart can speak softly and still be guiding you toward freedom. Learn to honor the quiet voice. That quiet voice may say, "This is not for me." It may say, "I need rest." It may say, I have outgrown this. It may say, I want more. It may say, I am allowed to begin again. It may say, I do not feel safe here. It may say, I love this dream even if no one else understands it. It may say, I am tired of pretending. It may say, I am ready to live in a way that feels honest. Do not rush to bury that voice under logic, fear, or other people's expectations. Your truth does not need to be dramatic to be real. It does not need to come with a perfect plan. It does not need to be understood by everyone around you. Sometimes truth is simply the next honest step. Sometimes it is a choice you make in your heart before the world ever sees it. Sometimes it is the decision to stop laughing at what hurts you. Sometimes it is the decision to stop saying yes, and your spirit is weary. Sometimes it is the decision to speak more kindly to yourself. Sometimes it is the decision to stop asking people who never honored your heart to approve your healing. Standing tall in your truth does not mean standing against everyone. It means standing with yourself. It means you no longer leave your own side the moment someone questions you. It means you do not collapse every time someone misunderstands your intention. It means you stop treating disagreement like danger. It means you can hear an opinion and still remain connected to your own center. There is a powerful difference between being stubborn and being rooted. Stubbornness closes the heart and refuses to grow. Being rooted keeps the heart open while staying connected to truth. Stubbornness says, I must be right. Rootedness says, I must be honest. Stubbornness fights for control. Rootedness stands in peace. Stubbornness is hard. Rootedness is strong. You are not being asked to harden. You are being invited to root. A rooted person can listen without losing themselves. A rooted person can apologize when love asks for it, but does not apologize for existing. A rooted person can change their mind when truth grows, but does not change their whole identity to survive someone's mood. A rooted person can love deeply, but does not turn love into self-abandonment. This is the kind of strength your soul is calling you toward. For a long time, you may have confused peace with being liked. You may have thought peace meant no one was upset with you. No one questioned you. No one judged you. No one left. No one disagreed. But that is not peace. That is control wearing a gentle face. True peace is deeper. True peace is being able to remain kind to yourself even when someone else is not pleased. True peace is being able to breathe inside your own truth even when the outside world is noisy. You can be at peace and still be judged. You can be at peace and still be misunderstood. You can be at peace and still choose a path that others do not see. Peace does not mean everyone agrees. Peace means you are no longer at war with yourself. That is the peace you are learning now. Your truth may ask you to stop explaining so much. not because your voice does not matter, but because your energy matters too. When you over-explain to people who are determined not to understand, you slowly teach yourself that your truth is weak unless someone else accepts it. But truth does not become true because someone nods. Truth does not become false because someone rolls their eyes. Truth remains truth. You are allowed to say less and mean it more. You are allowed to let your life speak in time. You are allowed to move quietly. You are allowed to make choices without announcing every wound that led you there. You are allowed to protect the sacred parts of your healing from people who only know how to criticize. You are allowed to stop turning your pain into evidence for people who demand proof before they offer compassion. Not everyone has earned the full story. Some people only deserve your calm distance. Some deserve a simple answer. Some deserve kindness without access. Some deserve love from far away. Some deserve nothing more than your silent release. And this is not cruel. This is wisdom. You are learning where your energy can bloom and where it only gets drained. Your truth will teach you this if you listen. It will show you when your heart feels expanded and when it feels contracted. It will show you which relationships make you feel more like yourself and which ones make you perform. It will show you where your gifts are welcome and where they are only tolerated. It will show you which doors are open with love and which doors only stay open when you abandon yourself to enter. Do not ignore the wisdom of your own peace. Peace is often the way truth says yes. Tension is often the way truth says pay attention. This does not mean every hard thing is wrong or every easy thing is right. Growth can feel uncomfortable. Honest choices can feel scary. Boundaries can feel strange when you are used to pleasing. But beneath the fear, there is a different feeling. There is a clean feeling. A feeling that says this may be difficult, but it is honest. This may change things, but it is right for my soul. That clean feeling is worth trusting. When you begin to stand tall in your truth, you may feel unsteady at first. That is natural. If you have spent years bending, standing straight can feel unfamiliar. If you have spent years asking permission, choosing for yourself can feel bold. If you have spent years hiding your needs, speaking them can feel almost wrong. But unfamiliar does not mean unsafe. New does not mean bad. Healing often feels strange before it feels natural. Give yourself kindness as you learn a new way of being. You are not behind because you are still learning to trust yourself. You are not weak because you sometimes care about judgment. You are not failing because old patterns still visit. You are becoming conscious. You are becoming honest. You are becoming free. And freedom is learned through many small inner choices. Each time you choose not to chase approval, you grow stronger. Each time you do not shrink after criticism, you grow stronger. Each time you honor what is true for you, even quietly, you grow stronger. Each time you choose peace over performance, you grow stronger. Each time you let someone misunderstand you, without running after them to fix their image of you, you grow stronger. This is how standing tall begins. Not as a performance, not as a speech, not as a display. It begins inside. It begins when you stop insulting yourself in your own mind. It begins when you stop calling your needs too much. It begins when you stop making your sensitivity wrong. It begins when you stop asking, "How do I become acceptable?" and begin asking, "How do I become honest, thawing, oving, and free?" Your truth is not here to make you superior. It is here to make you whole. When you live from truth, you no longer need to pretend to be above others. You do not need to fight people to feel strong. You do not need to prove that you are right. You simply live with more inner alignment. You become easier to yourself. Your choices feel cleaner. Your words become clearer. Your relationships become more honest. The people who truly love you begin to meet the real you, not the version created by fear. And the relationships that cannot survive your truth may have been surviving only because of your silence. That can be painful to see. It can hurt when you realize some bonds were built on your self-abandonment. It can hurt when people only support the version of you that does not challenge them. It can hurt when your honesty creates distance. But not every distance is loss. Some distance is protection. Some distance is clarity. Some distance is the space your soul needed to breathe. Do not be afraid of the space that truth creates. In that space, you may hear yourself more clearly. You may remember what you love. You may feel old dreams returning. You may notice the simple joy of making a choice without rehearsing everyone's reaction. You may begin to feel a quiet pride, not the pride of ego, but the dignity of no longer betraying yourself. Dignity is a beautiful thing. It is the feeling of standing in your own life without apology. It is the calm strength of knowing you do not have to be perfect to be worthy. It is the inner steadiness that comes when you stop letting others name you. It is the gentle power of saying, "I know who I am becoming, and I will not abandon that becoming for temporary approval." Let this dignity rise in you now. You are allowed to have a truth that others do not understand. You are allowed to have a path that looks different. You are allowed to outgrow old roles. You are allowed to stop being the person who absorbs every judgment with a smile. You are allowed to stop being available for conversations that make you doubt your worth. You are allowed to protect your peace without explaining every detail. And you are allowed to feel proud of yourself for trying. Maybe you are not fully free yet. Maybe some opinions still hurt. Maybe you still replay words in your mind. Maybe you still worry before making choices. That does not mean you are not healing. It means you are human. The old pattern may have been with you for a long time, so treat yourself with patience as it loosens. What matters is that you are waking up. You are beginning to see that your life cannot be led by fear of judgment. You are beginning to see that approval is not the same as love. You are beginning to see that truth does not need to be loud to be powerful. You are beginning to see that the most important relationship you will ever have is the one you build with your own soul. So speak to yourself with love, choose with honesty, walk with quiet courage. Let your truth become the ground beneath you. When outside voices rise, return to the inner voice that brings you peace. When judgment appears, remember that you are not required to become smaller. When someone misunderstands you, remember that your worth does not depend on their understanding. When old fear asks you to hide, remember that you are safe to be real. Let your shoulders soften. Let your heart become steady. Let your spirit stand upright. You do not need to be louder than their opinion. You only need to be more loyal to your truth. And the more loyal you become to your truth, the less power their opinion has over your life. It may still pass through your mind, but it will no longer build a home there. It may still touch your heart, but it will no longer rule your choices. It may still be spoken, but it will no longer be the voice you obey. Your truth is quiet, but it is strong. It has carried you through every season where you thought you were lost. It has waited beneath every mask you wore. It has stayed alive through every moment you chose approval over honesty. It has not given up on you. Even now, it is calling you back into alignment, back into peace, back into the life that feels like yours. Listen to it. Let it guide the next part of your becoming. The reason their opinion hurts is not because you are weak. It hurts because a part of you has always wanted to be loved safely. A part of you has always wanted to be welcomed as you are, without having to perform, explain, shrink, or become easier for someone else to accept. That desire is not wrong. It is human. It is tender. It comes from the part of your heart that remembers how beautiful it feels to belong without fear. When someone judges you, it can feel much deeper than words. It can feel like a door closing. It can feel like love being taken away. It can feel like your place in someone's heart has become uncertain. And if you have known rejection before, if you have ever been criticized when you needed comfort, ignored when you needed care, or shamed when you were only trying to be yourself, then judgment can touch an old wound very quickly. That is why a small comment can feel so large. That is why one look can stay with you long after the moment has passed. That is why a simple opinion from someone else can echo inside you as if it were the truth. It is not only about what they said, it is about what the old wound heard. The old wound may hear, "I am not safe, I am not accepted, I am not enough, I must change myself to keep love." But my love, that is the wound speaking. It is not the truth. You do not have to keep becoming someone else just to feel safe. You do not have to keep editing your soul to make others comfortable. You do not have to earn love by removing the parts of yourself that other people do not understand. Real love does not ask you to disappear. Real love does not require you to betray your own spirit. Real love may invite growth, but it does not command self-abandonment. If judgment hurts you, be gentle with yourself. Do not judge yourself for feeling judged. Do not make your tenderness another reason to criticize your heart. You are allowed to feel the sting. You are allowed to notice the sadness. You are allowed to admit that certain words still touch places inside you that are healing. Your sensitivity is not a flaw. It is a sign that your heart is alive. But being sensitive does not mean you must be ruled by every voice. You can feel something and still not obey it. You can be hurt and still choose peace. You can notice the pain without building your identity around it. This is where healing begins. Not by pretending judgment does not affect you, but by refusing to let judgment define you. Sometimes the deepest pain comes from wanting approval from people who cannot give love freely. You may keep hoping they will finally see you clearly. You may keep waiting for the right words, the right moment, the right proof that will make them understand your heart. You may think, if I explain better, they will approve. If I try harder, they will soften. If I become more successful, more calm, more useful, more pleasing, they will finally stop judging me. But some people are not judging you because you explained poorly. They are judging you because they are seeing you through their own limits. They may only accept the version of you that serves them. They may only love the part of you that stays quiet. They may only celebrate the dreams that do not make them uncomfortable. They may only support your growth when it does not change the way they relate to you. Their judgment may not be about your worth at all. It may be about their fear of who you are becoming. You must learn to stop handing your heart to people who keep returning it with conditions. Conditional approval is exhausting. It makes you feel safe only when you are pleasing. It makes you feel loved only when you are agreeable. It makes you feel valued only when you are useful. And slowly, without noticing, you begin to ask yourself before every choice, will this keep me accepted? Will this keep them calm? Will this keep me safe from criticism? But your life cannot bloom if your first question is always how to avoid judgment. There is another question now, a kinder question, a stronger question. What would feel true to me? What would honor my peace? What would I choose if I already knew I was worthy? What would I say if I trusted that love does not require me to erase myself? These questions bring you back to your center. They remind you that you are not here to be shaped by fear. You are here to live from truth. And truth begins when you stop treating everyone else's approval as the measure of your goodness. The approval you are seeking outside often represents the love you have not fully given yourself yet. When you do not approve of yourself, the world becomes a mirror you are always checking. You watch faces, you read tones, You search for signs that you are acceptable. You become alert to every shift in energy. A delayed reply can feel like rejection. A dry answer can feel like punishment. A disagreement can feel like danger. This is not because you are dramatic. It is because your nervous system may have learned to connect approval with safety. If love was once unpredictable, you may have learned to become very careful. Careful with your words. Careful with your needs. Careful with your dreams. Careful with your truth. You may have learned to sense the room before entering it fully. You may have learned to become what others needed before asking what you needed. And for a time, that may have helped you survive. But now, life is calling you into a deeper safety. A safety that does not depend on everyone liking you. A safety that does not vanish when someone disagrees. A safety that lives inside your own self-respect. This kind of safety grows when you begin saying to yourself, I will not leave myself because someone else is uncomfortable. I will not turn against myself because someone else does not understand. I will not make their opinion more sacred than my own inner knowing. You can be kind and still belong to yourself. You can be loving and still stop seeking permission. You can be open-hearted and still refuse to carry shame that is not yours. The old part of you may still ask, but what if they reject me? What if they talk about me? What if they think I am selfish? What if they no longer see me the same way? And the healing part of you can answer, I will still be here. I will still have myself. I will still be held by life. I will still be worthy. I will still be loved by those who can love me without needing me to disappear. That answer is the beginning of inner freedom. For a long time, rejection may have felt like proof that something was wrong with you. But rejection is not always proof of unworthiness. Sometimes it is proof of mismatch. Sometimes it is proof that you are no longer willing to fit into places that require you to be smaller. Sometimes it is proof that you have outgrown an old pattern. Sometimes it is life redirecting you toward people, spaces, and choices that can meet you with more truth. Not everyone who leaves is a loss. Not every criticism is a warning. Not every misunderstanding is a sign that you need to go back and become who you were. Sometimes the sting of judgment is the doorway into self-trust. Because when no one claps, will you still honor your truth? When no one understands, will you still walk with dignity? When someone questions your choice, will you return to fear or return to your heart? When approval is not available, will you collapse or will you remember that your worth was never on trial? These moments reveal where your power has been placed, and they also give you the chance to bring it back. Bringing your power back does not mean you stop caring about people. It means you stop letting their react. Hands decide whether you are allowed to respect yourself. It means you no longer give every voice equal access to your inner world. It means you choose carefully whose words you allow to shape your heart. Some opinions come from people who know your soul. Some opinions come from people who know only your surface. Some opinions come from love. Some come from fear. Some come from wisdom. Some come from control. Some come from concern. Some come from envy. Some come from pain that has not yet healed. You are allowed to tell the difference. You are allowed to receive what feels true and release what feels heavy. You are allowed to say, "This part helps me grow, and this part does not belong to me." You are allowed to learn without taking on shame. You are allowed to be corrected without being crushed. You are allowed to change without hating who you were before. Judgment often hurts because it turns a living soul into a fixed label. It says you are this, you are that, you always do this, you never do that. It takes the full, complex, growing, healing truth of who you are and presses it into a small sentence. But you are not a label. You are not a mistake. You are not a moment. You are not the version of you someone decided to remember. You are a living being. You are allowed to grow beyond every old definition. People may remember the old you. Let them. People may talk about a chapter you have already learned from. Let them. People may hold an image of you that no longer fits. Let them. You do not need to keep performing transformation for those who are committed to seeing you through yesterday's eyes. Your healing is still real, even if someone does not notice it. You know what it cost you to become softer. You know what it took to stop reacting. You know how hard you have worked to speak with more love, choose with more care, stand with more dignity, and forgive what once controlled you. You know the private battles. You know the nights you had to encourage yourself. You know the strength it took to keep going when no one saw the effort. So do not let someone's quick opinion erase your deep becoming. Their judgment may hurt, but it does not have to enter the holy place inside you where your truth lives. Imagine your heart as a quiet room. Not everyone gets to walk in with muddy feet. Not every voice gets to sit at the table. Not every opinion gets to hang on the wall. You are allowed to protect the room where your spirit rests. When someone speaks harshly, you can let the words stop at the door. You can ask, "Does this belong inside me? Does this help me become more loving, more honest, more peaceful? If not, let it remain outside." You do not have to fight it. You do not have to prove against it. You can simply refuse to decorate your inner world with words that make you forget your worth. This is how you begin to heal the pain of judgment. You stop turning every opinion into an identity. You stop turning every criticism into a command. You stop turning every ejection into proof. You stop turning every misunderstanding into a reason to abandon yourself. Instead, you return to the truth. I am allowed to be myself. I am allowed to grow. I am allowed to be misunderstood and still be worthy. I am allowed to release the need to be approved by everyone. I am allowed to stand tall in my truth. Let those words become a gentle home inside you, a place you return to when the outside world feels loud. A place where your soul can remember that you are not here to be perfectly accepted by everyone. You are here to become honest, loving, free, and whole. The hurt may not vanish at once. That is all right. You are not forcing healing. You are allowing it. Each time you choose not to live from someone's judgment, the wound becomes less powerful. Each time you come back to yourself, the old fear loosens. Each time you honor your truth, your inner safety grows. And slowly, the opinions that once shook you begin to pass through like wind. You still hear them, but you are no longer moved from your center. You still feel them, but you no longer mistake them for truth. You still care, but you no longer collapse. You become tender and steady at the same time. This is the beauty of healing. You do not become hard. You become rooted. You do not lose your heart. You learn how to protect it. You do not stop loving. You stop begging to be loved at the cost of yourself. Letting go of their opinion does not mean you close your heart. It does not mean you become distant, bitter, untouchable, or proud. It does not mean you stop caring about people or stop listening to wisdom. It simply means you no longer allow every outside voice to become the ruler of your inner life. This is important because many gentle hearts are afraid of letting go. They think, if I stop caring what people think, will I become selfish? If I stop explaining, will I become rude? If I choose my own peace, will I become cold? If I stop pleasing everyone, will love disappear? No, my dear, real letting go does not make you cold. It makes you clear. There is a great difference between a closed heart and a protected heart. A closed heart says, I will never let anyone in. A protected heart says, I will choose carefully what I allow to shape me. A closed heart is built from fear. A protected heart is guided by wisdom. A closed heart shuts out love. A protected heart makes space for healthy love to remain. You are not being asked to stop loving. You are being asked to stop abandoning yourself in the name of love. You can be warm without being weak. You can be kind without being controlled. You can be generous without being empty. You can be forgiving without giving people endless access to wound you again. You can care deeply and still choose not to carry someone's opinion as your truth. This is the balance that heals you. For many people, kindness became mixed with self-erasure. You may have believed that being good meant never disappointing anyone. You may have believed that love me and always being available. You may have believed that peace meant keeping your own needs quiet. You may have believed that loyalty meant accepting judgment without protest. But those are not the teachings of love. Those are the habits of fear. Love does not ask you to disappear. Love asks you to become more fully yourself. When you let go of other people's opinions, you are not rejecting love. You are rejecting control. You are rejecting shame. You are rejecting the old belief that your worth must be approved from outside. You are rejecting the pattern of shrinking every time someone has a reaction. You are rejecting the idea that your life belongs to the loudest voice in the room. And as you reject those things, your heart actually becomes more available for real love. Because when you are not busy performing, you can be present. When you are not busy pleasing, you can be honest. When you are not busy fearing judgment, you can listen with a calm mind. When you are not trying to win approval, you can offer love freely without turning it into a trade. There is a softness that comes from self-respect. It is not the softness of weakness. It is the softness of someone who no longer needs to fight for their right to exist. It is the softness of someone who knows I can be loving and still have a boundary. I can understand your feelings and still honor mine. I can hear your opinion and still choose my truth. That kind of softness is powerful. It allows you to stay open without becoming a doorway anyone can walk through. It allows you to remain compassionate without letting every pain become your responsibility. It allows you to see others with love while still seeing yourself clearly. It allows you to stop confusing being needed with being valued. Some people may not understand this change in you. They may say you have become different. They may say you are no longer as available. They may say you have become hard because you no longer bend as easily. But sometimes people call you hard when you are simply no longer easy to control. Do not be afraid of their labels. When you begin to stand tall in your truth, the people who were used to your fear may not recognize your peace. The people who benefited from your over-explaining may not enjoy your calm silence. The people who expected you to absorb every opinion may feel uncomfortable when you start choosing what belongs to you and what does not. Let them adjust. Your healing may require others to meet a version of you that no longer abandons itself. This is not unkind. It is honest. And honesty is a form of love when it is carried with respect. You do not need to shout your boundaries. You do not need to defend your growth with sharp words. You do not need to punish people for not understanding. You can simply live differently. You can simply choose differently. You can simply stop placing your peace in their hands. Letting go can be quiet. It can look like not answering every judgment. It can look like not explaining a choice you have already made with peace. It can look like leaving a conversation before it turns your heart against itself. It can look like blessing someone in your heart and still keeping distance. It can look like smiling gently while no longer agreeing just to avoid discomfort. This quiet letting go is often more powerful than 1,000 arguments, because the real change is not in convincing them. The real change is in no longer needing them to be convinced before you trust yourself. Think of how much of your life has been spent trying to make others understand your intentions. You explain your tone, you explain your choices, You explain your pain. You explain why you need space. You explain why something hurt. You explain why you are not who they think you are. And sometimes explanation is healthy. Sometimes it brings people closer. Sometimes it clears confusion. But explanation becomes painful when it turns into begging. When you feel yourself begging to be seen, begging to be believed, begging to be valued, begging to be given basic respect, something inside you begins to grow tired. That tiredness is sacred. It is your soul saying, I cannot keep proving my humanity to people who keep questioning it. Letting go means honoring that tiredness. It means no longer standing at the door of someone's opinion, hoping they will finally let you in. It means realizing that you can walk away from the door and still be whole. You do not have to become cold to walk away. You can walk away with love. You can walk away with sadness. You can walk away with gratitude for what was good and clarity about what can no longer continue. You can walk away without hatred. You can walk away because peace is calling you, not because anger is leading you. This is mature letting go. It does not destroy your heart. It restores it. You may ask, how do I know when I am letting go with love and when I am closing my heart? You can feel the difference inside. Closing your heart feels tight, bitter, and afraid. Letting go with love feels sad sometimes, but clean. It feels like a deep inner truth. It feels like you are choosing peace instead of punishment. It feels like you are no longer willing to live in a pattern that hurts you, but you are also not wishing harm on anyone else. That clean feeling matters. It means your boundary is not revenge. It is self-respect. It means your silence is not cruelty. It is preservation. It means your distance is not pride. It is healing. It means your truth is not an attack. It is alignment. You are allowed to be aligned. You are allowed to choose relationships where your softness is safe. You are allowed to choose spaces where your truth is not constantly mocked. You are allowed to spend less time with voices that make you doubt your worth. You are allowed to stop offering your deepest self to people who only meet it with judgment. This does not mean you only surround yourself with people who agree with you. Growth often comes through love and challenge. But there is a difference between loving challenge and constant belittling. There is a difference between someone helping you see yourself more clearly and someone making you feel small. There is a difference between wisdom that stretches you and criticism that shames you. Your heart knows the difference. Trust the way your spirit feels after certain conversations. Some people leave you thoughtful, even if the conversation was difficult. Others leave you wounded, confused, and smaller than before. Some people speak truth with care. Others use truth as a weapon. Some people want your healing. Others want your obedience. You are allowed to choose what energy you keep close. Letting go of their opinion also means letting go of the need to correct every false story. This can be very hard. When someone misunderstands you, the heart wants to run after them with proof. It wants to say, no, that is not what I meant. That is not who I am. You do not see the full picture. You do not know my heart. There will be times when speaking is right, but there will also be times when peace asks you to let the story be wrong. Not because truth does not matter, but because your nervous system matters too. Your energy matters. Your healing matters. Some people are not looking for clarity. They are looking for confirmation of what they already decided. And when you keep offering truth to someone committed to distortion, you exhaust yourself. You are allowed to stop defending your soul in places where your soul is not being honored. This does not make you cold. It makes you wise. A wise heart knows that not every battle is sacred. Not every misunderstanding requires your attention. Not every opinion deserves a reply. Not every person has the ability to see you clearly. And if you keep living as if they do, you will keep giving your power to confusion. Let go, not with bitterness, but with blessing. Bless the people who could not understand you. Bless the ones who judged from their own fear. Bless the ones who wanted you to remain the same because your growth made them uncomfortable. Bless them and still choose freedom. Bless them and still walk in truth. Bless them and still keep your heart safe. This is how you remain loving without remaining available for harm. You can say inside yourself, I release you from needing to approve of me. I release myself from needing to be approved by you. I allow you to have your view, and I allow myself to live in my truth. I do not need to fight you. I do not need to become hard. I simply return to myself. These words carry peace. They do not attack. They do not blame. They bring your energy back to where it belongs. And as your energy returns, you may feel a strange emptiness at first. The space that used to be filled with worry about their opinion may feel unfamiliar. You may not know what to do with the freedom. You may feel the urge to go back, explain again, seek approval again, check again, please again. That is no. Old patterns often call you back when you begin to outgrow them. But stay with the new peace. Let the empty space become holy space. Let it become the place where your own voice grows stronger. Let it become the room where your joy returns. Let it become the quiet ground where your real life begins to take root. Because when you stop filling your inner world with the noise of everyone else's opinion, you begin to hear what life has been saying to you all along. You are allowed to be yourself. You are allowed to trust your path. You are allowed to release what makes you small. You are allowed to love without losing yourself. This is not coldness. This is wholeness. A whole person does not need to make everyone wrong in order to feel right. A whole person does not need to reject love in order to feel safe. A whole person can hold compassion for others and still choose boundaries. A whole person can say, I understand that you see it differently. and I still trust what is true for me. That sentence alone can change your life. It frees you from the endless need to win agreement. It allows people to have their thoughts while you have your center. It lets disagreement exist without turning it into danger. It teaches your heart that love does not require sameness. It teaches your mind that peace does not depend on control. Letting go without becoming cold is the art of staying open to love while closing the door to control. It is the art of caring without carrying, listening without obeying, forgiving without forgetting your own dignity, understanding without excusing what hurts you, loving without shrinking. And my dear, this is how you stand tall, not with a hard face, not with a closed chest, not with anger as your shield. You stand tall with a soft heart and a clear spirit. You stand tall because you no longer need to bow before every judgment. You stand tall because you know kindness includes kindness toward yourself. You stand tall because you understand that your truth can be loving and your love can have boundaries. Let others have their opinions. Let them think what they think. Let them speak from where they are. And let yourself live from where you are becoming. You do not have to become cold to be free. You only have to stop setting yourself on fire to keep others comfortable. There comes a moment when you stop looking at other people's faces to decide how you feel about yourself. There comes a moment when you stop searching every reaction for proof that you are enough. There comes a moment when the mirror changes. It is no longer the eyes of the world. It is the quiet truth within your own heart. That moment is powerful. Because as long as your worth depends on outside approval, you will always feel unstable. You will feel strong when people praise you and weak when they criticize you. You will feel beautiful when someone notices you and invisible when they do not. You will feel valuable when you are needed and empty when you are not. This is not because your worth hangs. It is because you are looking for it in a mirror that keeps moving. Other people are not steady mirrors. They have moods. They have wounds. They have preferences. They have fears. They have expectations. They may love you deeply and still see you unclearly. They may care for you and still misunderstand your path. They may admire you one day and question you the next. If their reaction becomes the source of your worth, your heart will never fully rest. You need a deeper mirror. That deeper mirror is self-worth. It is the place inside you that says, I am enough even when no one is clapping. I am worthy even when someone disagrees. I am lovable even when I am not being chosen. I am whole even while I am healing. I am still valuable when I am resting, changing, learning, or beginning again. Self-worth is not loud. It does not need to announce itself. It feels like calm dignity. It feels like coming back to your own side. It feels like no longer asking the world to prove what your soul is learning to know. For a long time, you may have tried to earn worth. You may have tried to become more pleasing, more useful, more impressive, more attractive, more successful, more calm, more perfect. You may have believed that if you could finally become enough in everyone's eyes, the hunger inside you would settle. But worth cannot be earned from people. It must be remembered within. You were worthy before anyone praised you. You were worthy before anyone criticized you. You were worthy before you made the right choices. You were worthy before you made the mistakes. You were worthy before you knew how to love yourself. You were worthy even when you forgot your own light. Worth is not a prize at the end of perfection. Worth is the truth you begin with. This can be difficult to accept when you have spent years measuring yourself through comparison. You may compare your path, your face, your success, your relationships, your healing, your confidence, your voice, your choices. You may look around and think others are doing life better, faster, cleaner, more beautifully. But comparison is another form of asking for permission to feel enough. Your path does not have to look like anyone else's path to be sacred. Your timing does not have to match anyone else's timing to be right. Your healing does not have to be understood by anyone else to be real. Your gifts do not have to be approved by everyone to be meaningful. Your truth does not have to be popular to be valid. When you begin to understand this, you stop standing before the world like a student waiting for a grade. You stop offering your heart like a paper for others to mark. You stop asking, did I pass? Am I acceptable? Did I do enough? Am I finally worthy? Instead, you begin to say, I am learning. I am growing. I am allowed to be human. I can improve without insulting myself. I can make mistakes without becoming a mistake. I can receive feedback without losing my worth. This is a very different way to live. Self-worth does not mean you believe you are better than others. It means you no longer believe you are beneath them. It does not mean you reject growth. It means you grow from love instead of shame. It does not mean you never feel insecure. It means insecurity no longer gets to make every decision. When your self-worth is weak, other people's opinions become powerful. A small criticism can feel like collapse. A small rejection can feel like proof. A small silence can feel like abandonment. But when self-worth grows, those same things still may hurt, but they do not destroy your center. You begin to say, this hurts, but it does not define me. This is disappointing, but it does not decide my value. This person does not understand me, but I am still allowed to understand myself. That is the mirror changing. You are no longer seeing yourself only through the eyes of someone else. You are learning to look within and see a soul that has survived, softened, grown, loved, tried, failed, risen, and kept going. You are learning to see beauty that is not based on approval. You are learning to see strength that is not based on applause. You are learning to see worth that was never missing. Think of how differently you would live if you truly approved of yourself. You would not need to chase every person who seems distant. You would not need to explain every choice to people who are not walking your path. You would not need to hide your gifts to make others comfortable. You would not need to insult yourself before someone else could. You would not need to stay where your spirit feels small just to avoid being judged. You would move with more peace. You would speak with more honesty. You would choose with more dignity. You would love with less fear. Approving of yourself does not mean you never need encouragement. We all need kindness. We all need support. We all need loving connection. But there is a difference between enjoying approval and needing it to feel worthy. There is a difference between receiving love and begging for proof that you deserve it. There is a difference between being seen by others and being dependent on others to see yourself. Self-worth brings you back into right relationship with approval. Praise becomes a gift, not a lifeline. Criticism becomes information, not a sentence. Rejection becomes redirection, not destruction. Silence becomes space, not proof that you are unlovable. Disagreement becomes difference, not danger. This is what happens when the mirror of self-worth becomes stronger inside you. You stop asking people to reflect back your value before you believe in it. You stop waiting for perfect conditions to feel good about who you are. You stop delaying self-acceptance until everyone understands your choices. You stop giving your power to people who may not even know how to love themselves. Because sometimes people judge you from the same place where they judge themselves. Sometimes they criticize your courage because they have not allowed their own. Sometimes they mock your softness because they fear their own tenderness. Sometimes they question your boundaries because they do not know how to set theirs. Sometimes they reject your truth because your honesty awakens something uncomfortable in them. If you do not know your worth, you will take all of this personally. If you do know your worth, you can see it more clearly. You can say, this may be about their own inner world. This may not belong to me. I can have compassion without making their wound my identity. Self-worth gives you space between what happens and what you believe about yourself. In that space, you can choose. Someone criticizes you, and instead of falling into shame, you can ask, is there something useful here? Someone misunderstands you, and instead of chasing, you can ask, is this person open to truth? Someone disapproves, and instead of shrinking, you can ask, does their disapproval mean I am wrong? Or does it simply mean I am choosing differently? That space is freedom. It gives you time to respond from truth instead of reacting from fear. It allows you to be honest without being harsh. It allows you to receive feedback without becoming wounded by every word. It allows you to release what does not belong to you. And the more you build this inner mirror, the less you need to keep polishing the outer image. So much suffering comes from trying to manage how people see you. You want to be seen as good, kind, strong, spiritual, successful, healed, loving, wise, easy, beautiful, calm. But no matter how carefully you manage the image, someone will still see you through their own lens. Someone will still miss your heart. Someone will still make a story. Someone will still misunderstand. Trying to control every reflection is exhausting. Coming home to your own worth is peace. Let your new mirror say something different to you. Not, do they like me? But am I being true to myself? Not, did they approve? But did I act with love and dignity? Not, do they understand my path? But do I feel aligned with the next honest step? Not, did I impress them? But did I abandon myself? These questions heal because they return your attention to your own soul. The world may still be loud. People may still speak. Opinions may still move around you like weather. But your self-worth becomes the ground beneath your feet. Weather can change. Ground remains. The wind can blow. The roots stay. A voice can criticize. Your inner truth can remain steady. This is standing tall from the inside. It is not something you pretend. It is something you build with loving repetition, honest choices, and gentle self-respect. You build it each time you speak to yourself with care. You build it each time you stop calling yourself names in your own mind. You build it each time you refuse to turn a mistake into an identity. You build it each time you choose not to shrink because someone else is uncomfortable with our growth. You build it every time you approve of yourself in the place where you used to seek approval from others. Tell yourself now, in the privacy of your own heart, I am allowed to approve of myself. I am allowed to see my own goodness. I am allowed to honor my growth. I am allowed to trust my truth. I am allowed to stand tall even when someone does not understand me. Let those words reach the places inside you that have waited for permission. The child within you may still be waiting for someone to say, you are good enough. The tender part of you may still be waiting for someone to say, I see you. The tired part of you may still be waiting for someone to say, you do not have to try so hard anymore. Offer those words inward. Let your own love become the voice you once needed from the world. This does not replace healthy love from others. It prepares you to receive it without begging. When you know your worth, you stop chasing people who offer crumbs. You stop mistaking attention for love. You stop calling control protection. You stop calling judgment honesty. You stop calling self-abandonment loyalty. Self-worth teaches you what real love feels like. Real love does not require you to hate yourself to keep it. Real love does not ask you to become invisible. Real love does not use your wounds to control you. Real love does not make you feel constantly on trial. Real love gives room for truth, repair, growth, and peace. And as your self-worth grows, you begin choosing more of that kind of love. You begin choosing people who can meet your truth with care. You begin choosing spaces where your nervous system can rest. You begin choosing work, relationships, habits, and thoughts that reflect the value you are finally remembering. Your outer life slowly begins to match your inner mirror. This is why letting go of opinions and standing in truth is not only about confidence. It is about healing the place inside you that thought it had to earn the right to exist. It is about ending the long search for yourself in the eyes of people who could not see you clearly. It is about turning inward and finding that the love you were chasing has been waiting inside your own acceptance. You are not empty without their approval. You are not lost without their agreement. You are not unfinished without their praise. You are not ruined by their criticism. You are whole, even as you grow. You are worthy, even as you learn. You are lovable, even as you heal. You are allowed to be a work in progress and still stand tall. Let the mirror change today. Do not look first to the world. Look within. Look at the courage it took to keep going. Look at the softness you still carry after all you have survived. Look at the wisdom you have gained through pain. Look at the love you still want to give. Look at the truth that keeps calling you forward. Look at the soul that has never stopped trying to come home. See yourself with kinder eyes. And when someone's opinion tries time, become your mirror again. Remember this, their view is only their view. It is not the full sky. It is not the whole truth. It is not the measure of your soul. Your worth lives deeper. Stand there. Breathe there. Choose from there. Let your life grow from there. There is a quiet freedom that comes when you no longer feel the need to explain your whole heart to people who have already decided not to understand it. For so long you may have believed that if you found the right words, they would finally see you clearly. If you explained your pain softly enough, they would stop judging. If you gave enough details, they would understand why you chose what you chose. If you opened your heart wider, they would stop calling your truth wrong. And because you wanted peace, because you wanted connection, because you wanted to be seen with love, you may have spent years explaining yourself to people who were not listening with love. That kind of explaining becomes exhausting. It is not the honest sharing that brings two hearts closer. It is the nervous explaining that comes from fear. Fear that someone will misunderstand you. Fear that someone will leave. Fear that someone will think badly of you. Fear that someone will tell a version of your story that makes you look small, selfish, difficult, or wrong. So you keep talking. You keep defending. You keep giving more of your private pain, hoping it will become enough proof that you deserve kindness. But your pain was never meant to be evidence in a court of opinion. You do not have to place your wounds on display for people to believe that you deserve peace. You do not have to turn your healing into a speech for people who only want to argue. You do not have to explain every boundary, every choice, every silence, every change, every step away, every step forward. Some things are sacred because they belong to your soul before they belong to anyone else's understanding. The need to explain often comes from the old belief that your truth is not valid until someone approves it. You may feel that if someone disagrees, you must work harder. If someone judges you, you must correct them. If someone questions your heart, you must prove your goodness. But my dear, truth does not become true only after it is accepted. Truth is true even when it is questioned. Truth is true even when it is not popular. Truth is true even when someone looks away. You are allowed to know what you know in your own heart. You are allowed to say, "This is what brings me peace." You are allowed to say, "This is no longer right for me." You are allowed to say, "I have changed." You are allowed to say, "I need space." You are allowed to say, "I choose differently now." You are allowed to say these things without building a long bridge for everyone else to walk across before they respect you. Some people will not respect your truth because they do not benefit from it. Some people will not understand your boundary because they liked you better without it. Some people will not accept your growth because it asks them to meet you in a new way. And some people will keep asking for explanations, not because they want clarity, but because they want to pull you back into doubt. You must learn the difference. A loving question feels open. A controlling question feels like a trap. A loving conversation brings clarity. A controlling conversation makes you feel smaller after every answer. A loving person wants to understand your heart. A controlling person wants to find the weak place where they can make you abandon your heart. When you begin to see this clearly, you stop giving your energy to every demand for explanation. You can still speak with kindness. You can still communicate honestly. You can still offer clarity where clarity is welcome. But you no longer need to empty yourself trying to make your truth acceptable to people who have chosen not to receive it. There is a deep dignity in saying less. Not because you are hiding, not because you are afraid, not because your truth is weak, but because you have learned that your life does not need to be endlessly defended. You have learned that your peace is worth protecting. You have learned that not every misunderstanding is your assignment. You have learned that silence can be a form of self-respect when words are being used against your spirit. Some conversations do not need more explanation. They need a boundary. Some judgments do not need a reply. They need release. Some people do not need the full story. They need distance from the part of you they keep mishandling. This does not mean you become unkind. It means you become clear. Clarity says, I can love you and still not argue with you about my worth. Clarity says, I can respect your view and still not live by it. Clarity says, I can hear your opinion and still return to my own truth. Clarity says, I do not need to win this conversation in order to be free. There is so much power in no longer trying to win. When you are trapped in the need to explain, you often want the final understanding, the final apology, the final moment where the other person says, now I see you, now I understand, now I approve. But waiting for that moment can keep you tied to people who may never give it. You can spend your life standing outside a locked door, holding your truth in your hands, hoping someone will open and welcome it. But what if your freedom does not require that door to open? What if you can turn around and walk back into your own life? What if you can stop asking someone else to become the witness of your worth? What if you can allow them to misunderstand and still move forward with peace? What if the healing is not in being understood by everyone, but in no longer abandoning yourself when you are not understood? That is a brave kind of peace. It means you no longer chase every false story. You no longer correct every whisper. You no longer run behind every person who forms an opinion without knowing your heart. You no longer hand them more and more of yourself, hoping they will become gentle with it. You begin to understand that your truth deserves a safe place to live, and not every mind is that place. You do not owe everyone access to the most tender parts of you. Your dreams do not need to be explained to people who only know how to laugh at beginnings. Your boundaries do not need to be explained to people who call respect selfish. Your healing does not need to be explained to people who prefer the version of you that tolerated too much. Your silence does not need to be explained to people who ignored your words when you spoke. You are allowed to protect what is growing. A seed grows underground before anyone sees the flower. A soul often heals quietly before the world notices the change. You do not need to dig up what is growing inside you just to prove that it is real. You do not need to show the roots of your transformation to everyone who doubts the bloom. Let your life unfold without constant defense. This is especially important when you are changing. Change often makes people uncomfortable. When you stop doing what you used to do, people may ask why. When you no longer accept what you used to accept, they may call you different. When you speak with more truth, they may say you have changed. And yes, you have changed. That is not something to be ashamed of. That is proof that life is moving through you. That is proof that old pain did not have the final word. You are allowed to change without asking everyone to understand the process. You are allowed to become quieter. You are allowed to become stronger. You are allowed to become more selective with your energy. You are allowed to stop laughing at things that hurt you. You are allowed to stop staying available for people who drain your peace. You are allowed to become more honest about what you need. The people who love you with maturity may need time to adjust, but they will not demand that you betray yourself to make them comfortable. They may ask questions, but they will not shame your answers. They may not fully understand at first, but they will honor the fact that your inner life belongs to you. And the people who only loved your old self-abandonment may resist your healing. Let that truth be sad if it needs to be sad. You do not have to pretend it does not hurt. But do not let the sadness make you go back. Do not make yourself smaller just because someone is uncomfortable with your growth. Do not trade your new peace for the old approval. The old approval cost too much. It cost your voice. It cost your rest. It cost your self-trust. It cost the feeling of living honestly inside your own body. You are not here to keep paying that price. The need to explain yourself begins to fade when your self-trust begins to grow. When you trust yourself, you can speak clearly and then rest. You can make a choice and let it stand. You can say what is true without wrapping it in apology. You can give love without giving away your power self. Trust says, I know my heart. I know what brought me here. I know what this choice means to me. I know the peace I am protecting. I know the pain I am no longer willing to repeat. When you live from that place, you do not need every person to validate the path. You may still feel the old pull. The mind may still want to explain, to fix, to make it right, to make sure no one thinks badly of you. When that happens, speak gently to yourself. Remind your heart that you are not responsible for every interpretation. You are responsible for living with honesty, love, and dignity. That is enough. You cannot control how people receive you. You can only choose how truthfully you offer yourself to life. Some will receive you with love. Some will receive you with fear. Some will not receive you at all. But their receiving is not your identity. Their reaction is not your worth. Their opinion is not your soul's command. Let this be the new peace inside you. I can be misunderstood and still remain whole. There is so much healing in that. Misunderstanding used to feel like danger. Now it can become space. Space to remember that not everyone has to agree. Not everyone has to see. Not everyone has to understand every corner of your becoming. Some people are simply passing witnesses. Some people are old chapters. Some people are mirrors for lessons you have already learned. You do not have to keep explaining a new life to old energy. Stand gently in what you know. Let your words become fewer but truer. Let your choices become calmer but stronger. Let your heart stop running after every opinion like it has lost something. You have not lost yourself when someone misunderstands you. You lose yourself when you abandon what you know in order to be understood. So return. Return to the quiet place in you that knows. Return to the inner voice that does not need to shout. Return to the peace that does not depend on winning a debate. Return to the truth that says, I am allowed to live my life without handing every choice to the court of other people's approval. And as you return, you will feel something shift. Your energy will no longer leak into endless defense. Your mind will no longer spend so much time rehearsing explanations. Your heart will no longer feel like it must earn its right to be held. You will begin to feel the strength of being quietly clear. You can say, "This is my truth," and then you can let that be enough. Standing tall in your truth does not always mean making a dramatic change. Sometimes it begins in the private places of your life where no one else can see. It begins when you stop agreeing with the voice that says you are too much. It begins when you stop making your dreams smaller before anyone else can reject them. It begins when you stop treating your needs like an inconvenience. It begins when you decide that your peace matters, even if someone else does not understand why. This is where true strength begins, not in performance, not in noise, not in proving. It begins, in the quiet decision to stop leaving yourself. For a long time, you may have stood tall for everyone else. You may have defended others, supported others, encouraged others, forgiven others, held space for others, believed in others. But when it came to yourself, you may have lowered your head. You may have doubted your own goodness. You may have minimized your own pain. You may have told yourself that your feelings were not important, that your dreams could wait, that your truth was too risky. Now life is asking you to offer yourself the same loyalty you have given away so freely. Stand tall in your truth. Not because you have all the answers, not because you never feel afraid, not because you never need help. Stand tall because your soul deserves your friendship. Stand tall because your heart has waited long enough for you to come home. Stand tall because every time you honor your truth, you become more alive. You may feel the body change when you begin to live more honestly. The shoulders that once carried shame begin to soften. The breath that once stayed shallow begins to deepen. The chest that once tightened around fear begins to open. The eyes that once searched for approval begin to look at life more calmly. This is not only emotional healing, it is the body learning a new message. The old message was, I must be pleasing to be safe. The new message is, I am safe to be real. Let that message move through you. You are safe to be real, safe to speak with love, safe to have needs, safe to choose a path that feels honest, safe to stop apologizing for your existence, safe to be seen without performing, safe to be misunderstood without collapsing, safe to release the opinions that were never yours to carry. Standing tall does not mean you become fearless. It means fear is no longer the leader. Fear may still speak. It may still ask, what will they think? What if they leave? What if they judge me? What if I am wrong? But your truth can answer with calm strength. I hear you, fear, but I will not build my life around you. I will choose with love. I will choose with wisdom. I will choose from the deepest place I know. That is courage. Courage is not the absence of trembling. Courage is choosing your soul even while the old pattern trembles. Courage is telling the truth gently when silence would betray you. Courage is choosing rest when guilt tells you to keep proving. Courage is allowing yourself to be seen when hiding has become too heavy. Courage is letting someone have their opinion while you keep your peace. And the more you choose courage, the more natural it becomes. At first, standing tall may feel unfamiliar. You may wonder if you are doing something wrong simply because you are doing something different. You may feel guilt when you say no. You may feel nervous when you stop explaining. You may feel lonely when you no longer fit into old patterns. Be kind to yourself in this transition. You are not doing wrong. You are learning a new way of belonging. This day, you are learning to belong to yourself first. Belonging to yourself does not mean you reject others. It means you no longer reject yourself to keep others. It means you no longer twist your truth into shapes that are easier to approve. It means you no longer wait for someone else to tell you that your feelings are valid before you treat them with care. There is a sacred dignity in this. Dignity says, I will not insult myself to make you comfortable. Dignity says, I will not call my truth wrong just because it is inconvenient for someone else. Dignity says, I will not make a home inside another person's judgment. Dignity says, I can be kind and still stand firm. This dignity may feel quiet, but it changes everything. It changes the way you enter rooms. It changes the way you speak. It changes the way you choose relationships. It changes what you allow. It changes what you no longer chase. It changes the way you hold your own heart after someone criticizes you. Before, criticism may have sent you into panic. Now you can breathe inside it. You can ask what is true, release what is not, and remain connected to yourself. Before, disapproval may have made you question your whole path. Now you can remember that not every person is meant to understand your direction. Before, judgment may have made you shrink. Now, you can stand tall, not against the person, but for yourself. Standing for yourself is not aggression. It is alignment. It is the moment when your inner world and outer life begin to match. It is when your yes becomes honest. Your no becomes clean. Your silence becomes peaceful. Your words become rooted. Your presence becomes more real. You stop playing a role. You stop being the version of yourself created by fear. You stop smiling to hide discomfort. You stop saying you are fine when your spirit is asking for care. You stop calling things acceptable when they are quietly breaking your heart. You stop treating your life like something that must be approved by everyone else before you can live it. And as you stop performing, some things may fall away. The need to impress may fall away. The need to be perfect may fall away. The need to be liked by everyone may fall away. The need to explain your every move may fall away. The need to keep old versions of yourself alive may fall away. Let them fall. What falls away from truth was too heavy to carry into your next chapter. What remains will be more honest, more loving, more peaceful, more aligned with who you are becoming. This is how your life becomes lighter. Not because everyone suddenly approves, not because judgment disappears, but because you stop turning judgment into a chain. You stop letting opinions decide how much space you are allowed to take. You stop shrinking before you even begin. Your truth needs room. Your gifts need room. Your healing needs room. Your dreams need room. Your joy needs room. Your voice needs room. And if you keep filling your life with fear of what others think, there will be no room left for the life that is trying to rise through you. Make room by standing tall. Stand tall when someone does not understand your timing. Stand tall when someone questions your healing. Stand tall when someone mocks your softness. Stand tall when someone calls your boundaries selfish. Stand tall when someone tries to pull you back into an old role. Stand tall when your own mind repeats old criticism. Stand tall does not mean push back with anger. It means remain faithful to your center. You can stand tall softly. You can stand tall quietly. You can stand tall with tears in your eyes. You can stand tall while your voice shakes. You can stand tall by choosing not to return to what hurts. You can stand tall by walking away from an argument that only drains your spirit. You can stand tall by speaking one honest sentence and letting it rest. The world may not always notice these moments, but your soul notices, your body notices, life notices. Every honest choice becomes a message inside you. I can trust myself. Every boundary becomes a message. I am worthy of respect. Every time you release an opinion that is not yours, you tell your heart, I will not abandon you for approval. This is how self-trust grows. And as self-trust grows, your truth becomes less frightening. You no longer need to run from what you feel. You no longer need to hide what you know. You no longer need to ask everyone around you if your inner guidance is allowed to exist. You begin to understand that life speaks within you too. Your truth may not make sense to everyone because it was not given to everyone. It was given to you. Your path may not look familiar because it is yours. Your healing may not follow someone else's schedule because your soul has its own rhythm. Your choices may not please every person because your life is not meant to be a mirror of their expectations. Let that be freeing. You are not behind because someone else would have chosen differently. You are not wrong because someone else cannot see what you see. You are not selfish because you are finally including yourself in your own life. For many gentle hearts, that is the hardest thing, including yourself. You may have been trained to consider everyone else first, their feelings, their comfort, their opinions, their needs, their expectations. And somewhere along the way, your own self became the last voice in your own life. Now, place yourself back into the circle of your own care. Your peace matters. Your truth matters. Your energy matters. Your dreams matter. Your body matters. Your healing matters. Your time matters. Your voice matters. When you stand tall in your truth, you are saying yes to the sacred responsibility of caring for the life that was given to you. No one else can live it for you. No one else can feel the cost of your self-abandonment. No one else can know the exact shape of your calling. No one else can breathe for you, heal for you, use for you, or become you. So do not let them decide who you are allowed to be. Receive guidance with humility. Receive love with openness. Receive wisdom with gratitude. But do not surrender the throne of your inner life to outside opinion. That throne belongs to truth, love, and the quiet wisdom within you. Stand tall there. Stand tall in the knowing that you are enough before anyone agrees. Stand tall in the knowing that your worth does not rise and fall with their reaction. Stand tall in the knowing that you can change, grow, heal, and choose again. Stand tall in the knowing that life did not create you to disappear into fear. You are here to live honestly. You are here to become more yourself. You are here to release what keeps you small. You are here to let your life carry the shape of your soul, not the shape of everyone's expectations. And as you stand tall, you may feel something beautiful return. A calm you forgot. A strength that does not need to be loud. A joy that comes from being real. A peace that no longer depends on applause. This is your truth welcoming you home. There will be moments when judgment feels loud again, even after all your healing, even after all your growth, even after you have promised yourself that you will not live for approval anymore. A voice from outside may still touch an old place inside you. Someone may criticize. Someone may misunderstand. Someone may question your choice. Someone may speak from fear, and suddenly the old pattern may rise. That does not mean you failed. Healing is not a straight road where you never feel the old pain again. Healing is learning how to return to yourself more lovingly when the old pain appears. It is learning how to come home faster. It is learning how to hold your own heart instead of handing it over. It is learning how to hear the noise without becoming the noise. When judgment feels loud, the first thing to remember is this: you are not in danger simply because someone has an opinion. An opinion may feel uncomfortable, but it does not have to control you. A judgment may feel sharp, but it does not have to become your identity. A misunderstanding may feel unfair, but it does not have to pull you out of your truth. You can let the sound exist without letting it rule. Come back to the center of your heart, not in a forced way, not with pressure, simply with kindness. Remember who you are before the judgment touched you. Remember the truth you knew before the outside voice became loud. Remember the peace you were protecting. Remember the reason you chose differently. Remember the long journey that brought you here. Your truth did not disappear because someone questioned it. It is still here, quiet, steady, waiting for you beneath the noise. When someone's opinion stings, your mind may want to run in many directions. It may want to defend. It may want to hide. It may want to attack. It may want to agree with the judgment just to make the discomfort stop. Be gentle with this reaction. You're me and may only be trying to protect you from rejection. But protection is not always peace. Instead of running with every thought, return to what is simple and true. I am still worthy. I am still safe to be myself. I am allowed to honor my truth. I do not need to be approved by everyone. I can choose peace without proving anything. Let these words move through your inner world like warm light. They do not need to be shouted. They do not need to become a performance. They are simply reminders. Reminders that your worth is not decided in the court of someone else's opinion. Reminders that you can remain kind to yourself even when the world is not gentle. Reminders that your soul is allowed to stand upright. There is a loving way to respond to judgment inside yourself. You can say, "This hurts, but I will not turn against myself." You can say, "I feel the old fear, but I choose not to obey it." You can say, "I hear their opinion, but I return to my truth." You can say, "I am learning to stay with myself." Staying with yourself is one of the deepest forms of healing. For years, you may have left yourself whenever someone disapproved. You may have joined their criticism. You may have replayed their words until they felt like your own. You may have punished yourself for being misunderstood. You may have tried to become smaller, quieter, easier, more acceptable. Now you are learning to remain. Remain with your heart. Remain with your truth. Remain with your dignity. Remain with the part of you that is still tender and still worthy of love. Remain with the inner self who needs your kindness most when the outside world feels sharp. When judgment feels loud, do not ask first, "How do I make them approve?" Ask, "How do I stay connected to myself right now?" That question changes the direction of your energy. Instead of sending all your power outward, you bring it inward. Instead of scanning their face, their tone, their words, their reaction, you turn toward your own heart. You ask what you need. You ask what is true. You ask what would feel loving and respectful to yourself. Maybe the loving thing is to speak clearly. Maybe the loving thing is to remain silent. Maybe the loving thing is to step away. Maybe the loving thing is to receive a piece of wisdom without taking on shame. Maybe the loving thing is to admit that a comment hurt you, but not let it become your name. There is no need to respond the same way every time. Truth is alive. It meets the moment with wisdom. But whatever you choose, let it come from your center, not from panic. Panic wants immediate approval. Center wants lasting peace. Panic wants to fix the image. Center wants to honor the soul. Panic wants to chase. Center knows how to stay. Panic believes misunderstanding is unbearable. Center remembers that your worth remains whole. The more you return to center, the less judgment can pull you away. You begin to feel the space between someone's words and your reaction. In that space, you find choice. You can choose not to believe everything spoken about you. You can choose not to repeat cruel words to yourself. You can choose not to make someone else's mood into your truth. You can choose not to let a temporary sting become a permanent story. This space is sacred. It is where freedom lives. It is where the old pattern ends and the new self begins. It is where you stop being controlled by the fear of disapproval and start being guided by the love of truth. When judgment feels loud, let your body become a place of return too. Notice the way your shoulders hold the old fear. Notice the way your chest tightens when you imagine being disliked. Notice the way your stomach may react when someone questions you. Do not criticize the body for responding. The body is only showing you where the old story still lives. Speak to it with tenderness. Tell your body you do not have to carry their opinion. You do not have to shrink to stay safe. You do not have to prepare for rejection as if it is the end of love. I am here with you now. We are not abandoning ourselves anymore. This kind of inner kindness changes the atmosphere inside you. The body begins to trust that you are no longer its enemy. The heart begins to trust that you will not hand it over to every judgment. The mind begins to learn that criticism does not have to become collapse. Slowly, the whole inner system begins to understand a new truth. I can be safe within myself even when someone outside me disapproves. That is powerful, because when you feel safe within yourself, you no longer need to fight the whole world for safety. You no longer need everyone to be kind before you can be kind to yourself. You no longer need every person to understand before you can feel steady. You no longer need perfect conditions to choose peace. You become the safe place you once searched for. And from that safe place, you can meet judgment differently. Not with a heart that is begging, not with a mind that is panicking, not with a soul that is collapsing. You can meet it with calm honesty. You can say, "This is not mine to carry." You can say, "I will take what is useful and release what is unkind." You can say, "I do not need to explain my whole life to protect my worth." You can say, "My truth is allowed to exist here." These simple inner statements can become anchors. They bring you back when outside noise rises. They remind you that your life is not meant to be lived in constant reaction. They help you move from fear into self-respect. Returning to yourself also means remembering what kind of voice you want to become inside your own mind. Do you want to become another judge? Do you want to join the world in criticizing you? Do you want to make the harsh opinion louder by repeating it to yourself again and again? Or do you want to become the voice of love you needed long ago? Be that voice. When someone says you are not enough, let your inner voice say, I am growing and I am worthy now. When someone says you are too much, let you, our inner voice, say, my fullness is not a mistake. When someone says you have changed, let your inner voice say, yes, I am becoming more honest. When someone says they do not understand, let your inner voice say, I can still trust myself. This is not denial. This is protection of the soul. You are not pretending that words never hurt. You are choosing not to let hurt become truth. You are not pretending that everyone's opinion is meaningless. You are choosing which voices carry wisdom and which voices carry wounds. You are not pretending that you never need others. You are choosing not to need approval more than you need self-respect. There is a deep difference. The more you return to yourself, the more your relationships begin to change. You may become less drawn to people who keep you in doubt. You may become less available for conversations that leave you feeling small. You may become more attracted to quiet, steady, honest love. You may begin to notice who respects your truth even when they do not fully understand it. This is part of your healing. As you stop needing approval from everyone, you make room for connection that does not require performance. You begin to seek relationships where truth can breathe. You begin to value peace over popularity. You begin to honor the people who meet you with care, not control. And you begin to meet yourself that way too. This may be the most important return of all, returning to yourself as a friend, not as a critic, not as a judge, not as someone who only loves you when you are perfect. A friend, a steady presence, a gentle witness, a loving voice that says, I am here. I will not leave you because someone else had an opinion. Imagine how your life changes when you become loyal to yourself in this way. The world can be loud and still you have an inner home. People can misunderstand and still you know where to return. Judgment can pass through the day and still your night can hold peace. You can walk through life with a softer heart because you are no longer using all your energy to protect an image. You are living from truth now. Truth is simpler than image. Image must be managed. Truth only needs to be honored. Image asks, how do I look? Truth asks, how do I live? Image asks, do they approve? Truth asks, am I aligned? Image asks, can I keep everyone pleased? Truth asks, can I keep my heart clean? Choose truth. When judgment feels loud, choose truth again. When the old need for approval returns, choose truth again. When your mind starts building speeches to prove your worth, choose truth again. When someone tries to make you feel small, choose truth again. And if you forget, return with love. No shame, no harshness, no punishment. You are learning. You are healing. You are becoming steady in places where you used to break. That is sacred work. That is deep inner change. That is the kind of transformation that may not be visible to everyone, but it changes the whole direction of your life. The next time their opinion feels loud, remember this. Loud does not mean true. Familiar does not mean right. Painful does not mean powerful. You are allowed to come back to yourself before you respond, before you believe, before you shrink. You are allowed to stand in the quiet place where your truth still lives. And from there, you will know what to carry and what to release. Your life belongs to you. Let that truth move through every place where you have been waiting for permission. Your life does not belong to the people who judged you. It does not belong to the ones who misunderstood your heart. It does not belong to the voices that taught you to shrink. It does not belong to the old fear that said approval was safer than honesty. Your life belongs to you, and you are allowed to live it with truth. You are allowed to choose peace. You are allowed to choose the path that feels honest in your heart, even if it does not make sense to everyone watching. You are allowed to grow beyond the version of yourself that people were used to. You are allowed to stop carrying opinions that were spoken from fear, pain, control, or misunderstanding. You are allowed to let go of the need to be liked by everyone. This does not make you unloving. It makes you free. For so long you may have confused freedom with losing people. But sometimes freedom is not about losing love. It is about losing the fear that kept you begging for love in places where your soul could not breathe. It is about releasing the need to be accepted by those who only accept you when you are small. It is about no longer twisting yourself into shapes that hurt, just to fit inside someone else's expectation. You were not created to live as a performance. You were created to live as a real person, with a real heart, real needs, real dreams, real wisdom, real limits, and real truth. You are allowed to be tender. You are allowed to be strong. You are allowed to be both. You are allowed to care what people feel, but you are not required to obey every opinion they have. You are allowed to listen with kindness and still choose from your own soul. This is the path of self-respect. Self-respect does not shout. It does not need to humiliate anyone. It does not need to prove superiority. Self-respect simply says, I will not abandon myself anymore. I will not call myself wrong just because someone else is uncomfortable. I will not trade my peace for approval. I will not shrink my truth to keep a false calm. A false calm is what happens when everyone else is comfortable, but your own heart is suffering. True peace is different. True peace includes you. True peace allows your voice to exist. True peace allows your needs to be honored. True peace does not ask you to disappear so others can relax. True peace is built on honesty, not performance. You are allowed to build that kind of peace now. You are allowed to stop living as if every choice must be defended before it is valid. You are allowed to stop asking people to understand you, yet they may not have the capacity to understand. You are allowed to stop making your worth depend on the mood, opinion, or approval of another person. The more you do this, the more your life begins to feel like your own. You may notice small changes first. You may feel less anxious before making decisions. You may feel less pulled to explain every detail. You may feel more comfortable with silence. You may begin to trust the quiet yes and the quiet no inside you. You may begin to feel less impressed by loud opinions and more connected to peaceful wisdom. These changes may seem small, but they are not small. They are signs that your power is returning. Every time you let go of an opinion that does not belong to you, power returns. Every time you choose truth over performance, power returns. Every time you stop chasing approval, power returns. Every time you speak to yourself with love after being judged, power returns. Every time you remain steady when someone misunderstands you, power returns. This is how you reclaim your life. Not all at once, not through force, not through anger, but through steady, loving loyalty to your own soul. You may still be judged. Let that be true without making it final. You may still be misunderstood. Let that be true without making it your identity. You may still feel the sting of criticism. Let that be true without making it your home. You may still want approval sometimes. Let that be true without making it your master. You can be human and still be free. Freedom does not mean you never feel. Freedom means you no longer let every feeling lead you away from yourself. Freedom means you can feel hurt and still choose self-respect. You can feel afraid and still choose truth. You can feel misunderstood and still choose peace. You can feel the old desire to please and still choose not to betray yourself. This is a new kind of strength. It is not hard. It is not cold. It is not loud. It is the strength of a heart that has learned its own value. It is the strength of a soul that has stopped asking the world to decide its worth. It is the strength of someone who can say, I belong to myself, and from that belonging, I can love more honestly. When you belong to yourself, you do not need to hold others with fear. You can love without clinging. You can listen without losing yourself. You can give without becoming empty. You can receive without feeling unworthy. You can walk away without hatred. You can stay without self-abandonment. Your relationships become cleaner because your energy becomes cleaner. You are no longer seeking people to complete the worth you do not feel. You are no longer asking them to become the mirror that proves you are acceptable. You are no longer making their approval the center of your life. You are meeting them from a deeper place, a place that says, I am whole, and I welcome love that honors wholeness. This is the love you deserve, love that does not require you to hide, love that does not mock your truth, love that does not use judgment to control you, love that can speak honestly without shaming you, love that can meet your growth without trying to pull you backward, love that allows you to stand tall. And until that love surrounds you fully, become that love for yourself. Speak to yourself as someone worthy of gentleness. Make choices as someone worthy of peace. Set boundaries as someone worthy of respect. Rest as someone worthy of care. Dream as someone worthy of possibility. Heal as someone worthy of a new beginning. You do not need their opinion to begin living this way. You can begin from within. The world may still have its noise. Let it. People may still form their thoughts. Let them. Some may understand you. Some may not. Some may support you. Some may question you. Some may walk with you. Some may drift away. Through all of it, keep returning to the truth that your life is sacred. You are the one who must live inside your choices. You are the one who feels the weight when you betray yourself. You are the one who feels the peace when you honor yourself. You are the one who wakes with the consequences of your yes and your no. You are the one who knows the private cost of pretending. So let your own inner truth matter deeply. This does not mean you never make mistakes. You will. This does not mean you always know the perfect path. You may not. This does not mean you never need guidance. You do. But guidance is different from control. Wisdom is different from judgment. Love is different from approval that must be earned through self-erasure. Choose what brings you closer to your real self. Choose the thoughts that help you stand taller. Choose the words that bring dignity back into your body. Choose the relationships that make truth feel safe. Choose the silence that protects your peace. Choose the path that allows your soul to breathe. You may have spent a long time living for their opinion. Do not use that as a reason for regret. Use it as a reason for compassion. You did what you knew. You survived in the ways you were taught. You tried to be loved. You tried to be safe. You tried to belong. There is nothing shameful about wanting love. But now you are learning that love cannot be built on losing yourself. You are learning that belonging is not real if it requires you to disappear. You are learning that approval is not peace if it keeps you afraid. You are learning that the truth inside you is not your enemy. It is your way home. So come home. Come home from the noise. Come home from the old comments. Come home from the imagined judgments. Come home from the need to explain. Come home from the fear of being disliked. Come home from the endless performance. Come home to the quiet truth that has been waiting beneath it all. You are enough. You are allowed to be real. You are allowed to stand tall. You are allowed to let their opinion pass by without making it a home inside you. Let your shoulders become lighter. Let your heart become clearer. Let your mind stop rehearsing the conversations that only drain your peace. Let your spirit remember that you did not come here to be approved by everyone. You came here to live, to love, to heal, to grow, to become, to express the truth that only you can express. And yes, some will judge, but some will be inspired. Some will misunderstand. But some will finally recognize the real you. Some will walk away. But some will meet you more honestly than before. And most importantly, you will meet yourself. That meeting is sacred. To meet yourself without shame. To look inward without hate. To say, I am here now. I choose myself now. I honor my truth now. That is healing. That is freedom. That is the beginning of a life that no longer belongs to fear. Your life belongs to you. Hold it with love. Guide it with truth. Protect it with peace. Offer it to the world with courage, but do not surrender it to the world's judgment. Stand tall in your truth, not because everyone will understand, but because your soul deserves an honest place to live. And now, as these words settle into your heart, let yourself feel the quiet strength of what you have remembered. You do not have to live inside their opinion. You do not have to keep explaining your soul to people who cannot hear it with love. You do not have to shrink your truth to make others comfortable. You do not have to carry judgment as if it were your name. You are allowed to release it. Release the old need to be approved by everyone. Release the fear that being misunderstood means being unworthy. Release the belief that your peace must wait until every person agrees with your path. Release the heavy habit of checking your worth in the mirror of someone else's reaction. You are not here to be a reflection of their comfort. You are here to be real. You are here to be whole. You are here to live with a heart that is open but not owned, loving but not lost, gentle but not powerless. You are here to remember that truth can be soft and still be strong. Let go of their opinion. Let go of the words that made you doubt your light. Let go of the voices that taught you to become smaller. Let go of the old fear that said love would disappear if you became honest. What is meant to love the real you will not require the false you to remain. Stand tall in your truth. Stand tall when the world is loud. Stand tall when your voice feels small. Stand tall when someone does not understand. Stand tall when the old pattern asks you to hide again. Stand tall with a soft heart, a clear spirit, and a deep knowing that your worth was never decided by another person's opinion. Your truth does not need to fight. It only needs to be honored. Your life does not need to impress everyone. It only needs to feel aligned with the soul within you. And tonight, or whenever these words find you, let this be the message you carry forward. I am safe to be myself. I release the need to be approved by everyone. I honor my truth with love. My worth is steady. My heart is free. Let those words become a home inside you. When judgment rises, return there. When fear speaks, return there. When the world feels loud, return there. That inner home is yours. No opinion can take it. No misunderstanding can destroy it. No criticism can erase it. You are still here. You are still worthy. You are still becoming. And from this moment forward, may you walk with a lighter heart. May you speak with more honesty. May you choose with more peace. May you stop shrinking for approval and begin living from the quiet power of your own truth. Because your life belongs to you, and you are finally allowed to stand tall in it.